What's up, YouTube? So, I want to talk about the Mammy, Pick Me, Mule, Baby Mama, Ride or Die chick agenda in the black community. And my hypothesis, you didn't think I knew that word, did you? But my hypothesis is that a black, if a black woman is not a mammy, a pick me, a mule, a baby mama, or a ride or die chick, then the black community will have a problem with her. And let's start with some definitions here. Right? All right, so a mammy is like a coddler, pretty much a black male coddler. She coddles black men. All right. A pick me is a black woman who is pretty much begging black women to pick her. Right. And you can see these women on YouTube, throughout YouTube, these black women, asking and crying on camera, like why black men don't like them, and asking what did they do? What can we do? She loves her black cane. She down for her black cane, looking, sad, pathetic, tragical and struggle-ish, no shame either. Next is mule. All right, so mules in this sense, in this scenario, would be women who do grunt work when it comes to like black social justice causes, and probably just in general when it comes to like black community stuff, um, like tearing down statues. Marching in the streets, climbing up statues, uh, very much doing work, like grunt work that really, I'm not sure if women are really like expected to do, like women in other communities are expected to do. But for mules, this is how they get their validation, because they don't get validated based on their beauty. They get validated based on their work and what they do. And that, I've spoken on that before, actually. I have a whole video about the gender role confusion that goes on in the black community when it comes to that. All right. Next is a baby mama. I think we all know what a baby mama is, but I'll define it anyway. A baby mama is a woman who has a child with a man and they're not married. And she's probably never going to get married to the dude, right? So that's pretty much a baby mama, all right? An unwed mother, all right? Ride or die chick. This is the chick that is down. All right, she is down for her man, and she is going to do whatever it takes to hold him down, right? And that's pretty much like a simple definition, all right? So, a lot of times women engage in this type of behavior, not all of these, but a lot of these behaviors, because they want validation from black men. They want some type of validation, acceptance, acknowledgement from black men. Normally, women are valued and validated based on their beauty, not their accomplishments or what they do, usually. When it comes to other communities, yeah, that's a part of it, of course, it's not like that's completely ignored. But when it comes to women in other communities, oftentimes they're like uplifted based on their beauty, right? And their accomplishments they're a part of it, but they don't necessarily have to be the most accomplished or do some type of like, act of social activism to get some validation. But when it comes to the black community, we all know the black community is ass backwards when it comes to this type of stuff. All right. In the black community, men, particularly brown skin, dark skin, black men, like their validation is based on beauty. Think about it, right? Who is the one in the community really being uplifted based purely on beauty? Not usually when it comes to men in other communities, it's oftentimes based on what they do as men, right? Now, when it comes to the light skinned mixed biracial dudes, then that's when folks want to put that into action. That's when you gotta have to do something to get uplifted as a light skinned mixed biracial dude in the community. That's why you may have like the quote unquote fight the power light skinned biracial mix waffle color Negro in the mix, right? That may be partially why. Um, but when it comes to the brown skinned, dark skinned black men, that's why I often refer to them as the quote unquote true chocolate beauties of the black community. Because we sure know that unfortunately it ain't the brown skinned and dark skinned women being the chocolate beauties of the black community. Like the brown skinned, dark skinned brothers refuse to let the brown skinned, dark skinned females have that lane. They are holding on to that lane. I don't know why. And some brown skinned, dark skinned females play right into it and just keep on supporting it. So, hey, if you like it, I love it. But next, I want to talk about some examples in the media and, some females in the media who kind of have gotten flack um, because they decided to opt out of the agenda. All right. Um, for instance, Serena Williams. She opted out of being a mammy, a pick me, a mule, a baby mama, a ride or die chick for black men, right? She did have a brief period where she was like low key a baby mama, but she wound up getting married to the dude that she's with now, and he's white. So she, yeah, she's a swirler. So that's like public enemy number one to this agenda, right? So notice like Serena Williams does get a lot of flack, right? Notice that. It's like she is oftentimes the target. And usually I feel like Serena Williams is like pretty low key about her life. She's not really seen out in the media all too much other than when she's playing tennis. But a lot of black men in particular and some black women, because black women support this type of foolishness too. Again, wanting that validation, right? Wanting to be fair and balanced, right? Um, but when it comes to Serena Williams, you know, black men especially, they ain't used to black women, like Serena Williams opting out. They ain't used to that. Right? They pretty much thought that Serena Williams was going to be a mammy, pick me, mule, baby mama, ride or die chick for black men. And, I'm not coming for Serena, but I feel like they feel that way probably based on the way that Serena Williams looks. Again, I'm not coming for Serena Williams. I'm just saying they kind of have like, when it comes to this situation, it's kind of like, it's almost the feeling of entitlement and also kind of like, oh, you should be happy that anyone wants to be with you anyway. Kind of like, we're doing you a favor, right? But also the reason why Serena Williams is an issue and women like her is because, Serena Williams upset the status quo and the colorism hierarchy when she did that, right? It was like, oh, it's like, and also she could be like an example for other women, which is a bad thing. Like, oh, like look at what happened to Serena Williams. Like she was able to do it. Maybe I could do it, because she is like an example in the media that black women who are perhaps thinking about dating interracially may look to, and that doesn't help maintain the hierarchy. That doesn't help maintain the agenda. right? So, you know, you have to go for her and shame her and turn her into an example, right? Also, another person, Viola Davis, right? And Viola Davis is married to a black man, but she had spoke out about how she wanted to see more black women, particularly, I believe, like dark-skinned black women, especially. Um, I don't know if she specified skin tone, but she did say at least black women, like in more roles that are like interracial love roles, right? Kind of like black women with different types of men, right? And as well, she gave Liam Neeson a compliment, and you know that didn't go over so well, you know. Um, and I'm not. Again, I guess it just traces back to the agenda and Viola Davis not being on par with the agenda and challenging and upsetting the agenda. So, of course, black men primarily, but some black women too, as of course, came for Viola Davis for that, right? Even though Viola Davis is with, you know, she's married to a black man, right? So really, honestly, she would probably low key fall into the agenda anyway, but she kind of went off code, if you will, from the agenda. So they kind of had to check her, like, look, chick, you can't be going off code like this. So we got to make an example out of your ass. All right. All right. Next on the list, Issa Rae. All right, Issa Rae. Y'all know Issa Rae. Folks came for her because in her book, Awkward Black Girl, she said something that was, I believe, even like a joke or satirical. But she had said like, "Oh, black women and Asian men should date," you know. And folks got upset about that. Again, she is undermining undermining the agenda, right? And you can't be they can't have her out here undermining that agenda because it doesn't again the agenda helps maintain kind of like the hierarchy and the order within the community, right? So they can't have that. Another person that this happened to, Chili from TLC, this happened to her too, when she suggested that, you know, black women explore all their options, right? Be open to all their options when it comes to dating. And a lot of black women actually got at Chili for that, which I find really strange because Chili didn't really come for black women in that comment. It would make more sense that black men would come for Chili, but not black women. But they were, black women were coming for Chili for that comment. And that honestly is a video within itself about black women and their attitudes toward other black women who date interracially. That really is like a conversation within itself. You know, um, I saw a video from a woman who is very popular on YouTube and who very much is an advocate for interracial dating for black women, and is a very polarizing figure on black YouTube. And she had mentioned something about sometimes I think black women may bond low key over like struggle love. And sometimes when they feel like black women are opting out of struggle love, it's kind of like they're opting out of the sisterhood of struggle love, right? The sisterhood of building a brother up, right? And I think sometimes some black women resent other black women who opt out of the agenda, right? A theory. Um, Next on the list, Ciara, right? She was supposed to be the example baby mama, right? But Ciara was like, nah, I ain't gonna be on the baby mama host role now. Nuh-uh, I ain't down with that shit, right? Because, they wanted Ciara to be on the baby mama host role looking tragical and shit, you know. because they want baby mamas are promoted in the black community. That's why the like the marriage rate is so low in the out of birth wedlock, having children out of wedlock rate is so high. That is part of the agenda too, because they want the black women to be baby mamas, right? Not wives, baby mamas, all right? And I know some of y'all are like, well, why? Like, what's that about, all right? Well, they want the women, to be on the baby mama host roll, looking tragical and shit, so that they can throw it in your face and shame you when, shame you into being quiet when you complain about the fuck shit in the community, the fuck shit when it comes to black men. Notice that, like, when you want to file a complaint about black men, particularly like when black women file complaints about black men, notice that all of a sudden their whole personal life is scrutinized. Notice that. Like, oh, she's a baby mama. Oh, she can't get a man. Oh, she can't keep a man. Oh, she's a swirler. She's a bed wench. Like, so many facets of her personal life become points for criticism. Like, so many facets are put under scrutiny. It's like you're applying for like some sort of a loan or some sort of clearance or something, and they're just going through your whole life trying to make sure you're on the up and up, even though they really don't want you to be on the up and up, right? They're just looking for any reason to deny your application, right? But we've been talking about the women for a while, but also when you think about it, what about the criticisms for men like, say, Trick Fatty, Little Brain, Tic Tac Whack, right? Those dudes usually don't get criticized for engaging in the type of behavior that kind of like cuts down black women, right? Or promotes swirling for black men, right? Notice that. That doesn't really come in. Like, the same people who would complain about a Viola Davis would not be so quick to complain about Trick Fatty. All right. And as quiet as it's kept, many of these, quote unquote educated lames, like some of them, a lot of them, secretly want to be, the thugs, be like the thugs, the gangsters, the hood niggas, the pookies, the ray-rays, the slave bucks, right? Because notice that slave buck mentality that some black men have, notice that that's not really ever addressed when we talk about this whole baby mama situation and the out of wedlock birth rate, right? Notice that that's never really an issue or brought up within that conversation. Notice that. It's usually centered around black women and them making bad choices, which is a factor. I'm not going to front here. That is a factor, because I do think some black women, just some women in general, but I'll keep it on black women. But some black women, I don't know, they just sometimes are out to lunch when it comes to who they're going to have a kid with. Even we see this playing out right now on YouTube. I ain't gonna name names, but you know who I mean. Like, I kind of felt like, low-key, that black female could have did better. I honestly think that. And I think a lot of people kind of didn't expect her to end up in that situation. And, it goes to show that just because you know better doesn't necessarily mean you do better, right? Just because you're smart doesn't necessarily mean you're wise, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you have common sense, all right? But I'm going to bring this video to a close. I don't want to go on for too long, but thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.